This YouTube channel is called Brambles. Brambles because the fact that I have a pet sheep called Brambles. We've got Gibson here.
Hello.
Um, right.
Yes, I'm saying hello for the point of it, Josh.
um, right. So, what do you think of my sheep? Because I mean, you've not seen him, but like, I have talked a lot about my sheep before.
You have, but Brambles is pretty much the only sheep I care about that is in your flock.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, he is colourful. He's an odd sheep. I didn't get like those standard, black and white sheep or white sheep. It's kind of like a normal sheep, don't you think?
If he's limping, I would say he's not normal.
He's not limping anymore. I mean, I got that. He's not. Well, he's just a bit graceful when he walks compared to a normal sheep. He doesn't walk like a normal sheep. Um, he he recently had two. We had two babies, which we lost sadly, but that is what happens in life with sheep. And well, with them, I've gained a lot of weight. Right, so yeah, right. So what would you say, Gibson? Is a normal pet to have? Because I've seen a lot of people get odd pets nowadays.
Well, it'll be a dog first, won't it? It will be a dog, and then it will be a cat. That's
Yeah,
the most normal.
yeah, but people get like odd pets. Like, oh, you get your standard pet, which is like, oh, you get your Labrador or a or what else? Oh, like a wee Scotty dog or something like that. But then you got people who've gone like all Game of Thrones and gone, oh, I want a husky, and they're going like
Husky's
huskies.
not Game of Thrones, and Huskies is a very regular,
Is
popular
it?
dog.
I thought huskies were just odd. I thought
Huskies
huskies.
are Huskies, I would say, are probably the most closest thing to the original dogs we had.
I thought that was the shepherd dogs, the black and white ones. You know the.
Right, you do realize old dogs are descendants from wolves, right?
I thought it was the other way around.
No.
Okay.
We domesticated some wolves and then we bred them for our own purposes, and then over time, especially during the period of um, Victorian England, I think,
All right.
um, people started breeding them mainly for personal entertainment, basically.
So we took a wild animal and just basically wanted to use it as an amusement for ourselves.
Yep. In fact,
Oh,
we've almost got to the point where we're getting to a point where you could argue we've been breeding them to a point of extinction.
yeah. Well, I mean, I
Like
wouldn't say extinction, but like, I mean, we're growing them into like
bred
a
with
wee,
each
yeah, breed with each other, like using them as like a, yeah. I mean, I watched a Netflix show that basically talked about he decided to have um pet foxes, pet tigers and stuff, and
other. Oh,
what was it called? King
open my
Tiger
suggestion
King.
on Netflix. I know
Yeah,
which one you're
Tiger
talking
King.
about. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I haven't watched it.
Well, basically, what it was he decided to have like these big tigers and stuff, and have them as pets, and I just look at that and I go, that is pretty much. I mean, you're turning him into a pet.
Yeah,
Like,
well, all animals were domesticated, but the, I think we've gotten to the point in which animals we can domesticate and which animals we can't. And I don't believe tigers and lions we can actually domesticate. I'm sure there will be the exceptions, but
yeah, I mean, like, uh, there's. I mean, you could have like. I mean, there's someone who, oddly enough, where I live, on a high street, owns a shop where they used to own which is a children's clothes shop, and as a pet, she's a perfect old elderly lady, and her husband owned a bear. And I'm sitting there going, why would you own a bear? I mean,
Which country was this?
Scotland.
A bear.
Yeah, a bear. Literally, like
I struggled to believe.
I know. There was a documentary on STV about the bears and what it was like taken care of. And the guy was a former wrestler and stuff, and he was a big guy who owned it.
Some big dude.
Big dude. But I just looked at that and I went, "That's." I mean, one day you could wake up one morning and it could have escaped, and well, that's it. That's you done for. I mean, you can't exactly win against a bear unless you had a gun. But even then,
Uh,
it's
People have fought bears, but one-on-one, I would say it's unlikely.
yeah.
Unless
I
you
mean,
have like
imagine
modern
waking up
equipment.
one day and go, "Oh, look, the bears escaped. What we're gonna do?" I mean, it's not like a dog. I mean, if a dog's escaped, then you're like, "Oh, we're best look for it." I mean, you're not gonna. You're gonna have to like call the police and go, "Excuse me, sir, we've kind of got a bear on the loose." Oh, but yeah, it's weird pets that you get. I mean,
Owning owning bears and stuff, I would mainly think is more of an American thing. You see in
yeah,
America than you would see
yeah.
in any British region.
But it's becoming like the norm. Like more and more people are owning. Like if you go into Dubai, they've got leopards and they've got tigers and stuff all over, and
Oh,
that's
but
just a
the
whole weird world.
Dubai are rich as hell.
Yeah, they're rich as hell and they can afford to live and buy a leopard and treat it and stuff. And but it's just
It,
becoming more and more norm.
you owning animals aren't normally domesticated,
Hmm.
um, such as a bear, tigers, lions, you name it.
Hmm.
More of a pop cultural thing where you see like rock stars once they get to the
Yeah,
top of
yeah,
their
yeah,
fame, they start
yeah, yeah,
going mental.
yeah. I mean, Mike Tyson, he owned a tiger at one point. He owned two tigers, and I mean, he's a big guy, so he could have done that. But I mean, it's just becoming like when you get people owning these stuff, and it's becoming more and more normal to buy and own these stuff. You then just go. I mean, surely it's going to save them from extinction, but they're not exactly going to be able to live in the wild and stuff.
You own, you're owning more than sheep.
Yeah, I own. Yeah, because I mean, I've got more than sheep. I own a couple. I own four ducks, which can't fly, so kind of like they're not free to do what they want, but they're free to do what they want, but they can't exactly like fly away from our house because they can't fly because they're too fat. Um, I mean, we feed them enough. We kind of spoil them a bit, but they're too fat, and the breed of duck just doesn't fly. So we do like that. And they do give us a lot of eggs. Love the eggs, but just maybe a bit too much for us as a family to enjoy. And we're struggling to sell because like they're not your normal. You don't usually. I mean, do you usually eat duck eggs?
No, but you not you. They are on sale and typically
Yeah. Well, not many people buy
farm
them. Yeah,
restaurants
yeah.
and shops.
Farm shops and stuff. They usually sell like chickens and they do sell ducks, but they're not that popular, and that's why you kind of struggle to sell them a bit, and get rid of them. But and the other thing is because I really like the taste of duck. I mean, I wouldn't say to my ducks, "Oh, I wouldn't eat my ducks. I would never in my life, even if one of them was to sadly pass away, I would never eat my ducks."
I would.
Um, yeah, I know you would. You've never seen them. Even if one of them's named after you, you would eat that one.
That's the first one I would be eating.
Yeah, that might be the first one to go, knowing the fact that it just does its own wee thing and does a whole hiking expedition.
Yeah.
Uh, I wouldn't be surprised if a fox was to take you away. Um. Anyway, what else have I got? I have a what was it miniature cavapoo, which I didn't realize you get miniature cavapoos up until I walked.
What's a cabapoo?
Oh, it's a mixture between a poodle and a what's it called? It's a Shih Tzu. Yeah, so a cross between a
So
poodle.
it's a dog breed.
Yeah, people have bred it to be a tiny little fur ball, and it's pretty much a living teddy. I look at it and its face and everything. It is a living teddy, and and my sisters adore it, and it goes everywhere in the house, and it gets away with murder because of the fact that it's got that cute little face and stuff, and it just does whatever. But
Like all
see,
dogs.
yeah, see if we were to let that in the wild. See if we were to turn around and go live in the Cairn Gorms. It'd be buggered. It couldn't do anything.
Of course it couldn't. We'll be repeating myself in a moment.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah. So it's just one of those things where you look at it and you go, "Got an animal that can live on its own." However, if you turn around and take it into the wild, it's a goner.
Really live on its own, though? What do you mean by it can live on its own?
Like, okay, it can sustain itself if
It can.
it's like
So
it can.
it can pour the food out of your dog food cans by itself.
Okay. It can't okay. It can if it was able like
It
in a
is not
sense.
a self-sustaining animal.
It's not a self-sustaining animal, no. Like, but I mean, some dogs you get like um, you know those big
Hunting dogs.
hunting dogs, huskies, all those they can survive on their own. Um, some would say that they survive better on their own, but yeah, it's just an animal that we have created is now unable to sustain itself. And is that a bit too far? Are we playing God with it? Would you say?
What do you mean?
Like, I mean, we have created a animal that is unable to sustain itself, and if we do not
Well,
support it,
even wolves on their own can only survive for so long. Wolves are animals that thrive in packs.
yeah, but like you wouldn't
It
turn,
would be
you
the
wouldn't
same.
turn.
It would be the same for dogs. If if you let one dog go into the wild, I would say there would it might survive on its own if it managed to reawake its primal instincts. But
Yeah, but
what you're talking about is like wild dogs.
yeah,
Uh, but even wild dogs eventually form packs.
yeah, yeah. It's just I look at it and I go, really, that I don't think that, like, I mean, for wolves and stuff, like there's wolves in like North Russia where they're just left to their own devices and stuff. But I mean, it's just they are able to stay. I mean, maybe not long lives, not like full on, like a wolf's life under captivity would live longer than a wolf that was bred in the wild.
I'm sorry, what? You're saying a dog will survive in captivity longer than a wolf would
Yeah.
in captivity?
And no. You know, in households, in enclosed environments.
Oh, right. Well, a wolf is more likely to bite your face off.
Yeah, yeah. But I just think that I mean we're giving it more life, by giving it food and stuff, and healthcare and health supports with vets and stuff. But like if you compare that to like animals in, say, if you say like a wild animal where it's got a number of threats to it, I mean, it's less likely to survive.
In captivity with threats.
Yeah, with threats, yeah, it's going to live less.
What kind of
So,
environment would that be?
okay, so you've got like a, say, a wolf living in northern Russia, and it's got threats such as poachers, it's got threats such as bears, um, lack of food, cold, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like it's not exactly getting a shelter underneath it and food and stuff. So
So, in an enclosed environment
mhm,
with no food,
no food.
um,
An enclosed environment with food, Medicare, like we normally do with a pet. Like I believe that my sheep Brambles is going to live longer than any um, wolf or animal that would live in the wild, like a bear or something like that. I think it would live longer.
are you mental?
I'm not mental. I just believe that the support that we give it, the food that we give it, because
Yeah,
it
but
knows.
if you're giving your sheep support for this hypothetical experiment, you would have to give the wolf the same kind of as the sheep.
Yeah, I would suppose so. Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that.
What you would get at here is a wolf
Yes,
living in a field.
yes.
Is wolves in a zoo, basically.
Yeah, wolves in a zoo. A wolf in a zoo would live
Would
longer
live
than
longer than your sheep, which, by the way, normally people would farm, but because it's your sheep, I doubt you're going to be doing that other than shredding its wool when it gets too big.
yeah, yeah. And maybe breeding it, but yeah, you want many Brambles, but yeah.
A wolf would have to be given the same kind of treatment, so it would be fed to its appropriate necessary, which would mean as you with a sheep, I would imagine you throw the food into a trough.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. It knows it goes to the exact area where it gets food. It goes to an exact area where it gets water. It's got all the grass in the world.
right.
It's
With a wolf, it's not exactly the same. You would need to get your lumps of meat
yeah,
and kind of hide it about the field.
yeah. And you would need to sort of like,
It's not the perfect environment for a wolf.
and you wouldn't
A,
go near
a,
the
tr-
wolf yeah,
if a true environment would be that you would give it, even if we gave it the exact same treatment as the sheep, even though that's not preferable for a wolf.
mm-hmm.
You're still saying that okay, the environment. Mm,
it's right. What I'm trying to say is, I believe that if a wolf was just like if a wolf in a zoo would live long, like if you were to put a wolf, I don't get why they don't turn zoos into farms and just pay people to visit farms where there so happens to be a wolf. Maybe
well,
remove.
they kind of are.
Yeah, but they've got like cages and stuff. But I mean, you don't look at a sheep and then go, oh, that's encaged. The sheep can easily. My sheep can. We had five stray sheep just come into our field before we had brambles, and they just hopped into the field, and that was them happy. They could hop back out, and that would be them. But
It's because sheep. We have bred sheep to practically require human attention.
have we though? I don't think we have. I mean, they appear to like I've chased after a sheep. I have run and chased after a sheep to force it into an enclosed environment where I can give it food and stuff. However,
You're talking about herding, though.
yeah,
I would mean, uh, what you're saying is that a sheep would not thrive in an environment that is enclosed or similar to a sheep's, where it would get
yeah,
where it would get human attention by getting
hmm
fed to,
hmm
medical care. It's like what you are basically describing here is domesticating a wolf.
but not as much as what it would be domesticated to if you were just to shove it in a household like a husky.
Where if you shove the wolf into a household, nothing will end well.
Yeah, I suppose it'll just end up like the husky.
A wolf isn't
Yeah, I know, but like if you like forced it, like
domesticated.
is a wolf not just a domesticated? Is a husky not does this? Is a husky not did this?
A domesticated wolf.
Yes, exactly. That's what I meant to say. Domesticated. Yeah.
Well, not completely.
Okay.
A husky is a pure breed. So we have domesticated wolves,
hmm
and then we got the basis of a domesticated wolf, and then we would breed that wolf with other domesticated wolves to create a breed that would be best suited for our requirement.
Right.
For huskies, for example, we have bred them to the point where they were needed to pull sleds, normally
Right.
in cold conditions.
Yeah. But then
Uh,
isn't that just like I don't like when you look at a if you look at a game of if you look at Game of Thrones and you see the wild wolves, I don't know what they
a
call them.
dire wolf, which
A
doesn't
dire wolf.
exist.
I know it doesn't exist, but I think a lot of die-hard Game of Thrones fans just look at them and go, "It's just a husky." Visually, it looks like a husky. Less teeth.
Well, of course it is. They are the dogs that have been CGI'd to look bigger and more wolf-like. They're still dogs. You
Ah.
couldn't get a real wolf to
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah,
act in the
to
same
be
way.
that obedient and stuff. But yeah, okay, okay. Well, what about a cat then?
Cats are the same.
Cats are the same. So, like, if you look at a cat and you go, it's
Cat.
just a softer. What would you call it? It wouldn't be a lion. It would be a.
We don't have the exact same needs for a cat that we do for a dog. We managed to get basically jobs for dogs, like leading the blind, hunting,
Yeah, but then
sled
why
dogs.
do we have cats then? What's the point of a cat if it can't serve a
Like
purpose?
Victorian times where we bred dogs for pure entertainment to just make them look cute.
Yeah, but why do we then? So we keep them just to look cute.
Yeah. Well, cats are also hunters, so they would be also used in like farms to keep like rodents away
Right. Okay.
from feasting on your crop supply and so on.
Okay.
But that
Grim.
I'm sure there'll probably be like a few other like things we have got them to do, but
Yeah.
that's the only one that comes to
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah. But it's not like obvious. Like we can't. You look at a dog and you go, that is man's best friend. It is served as multiple
Well, yeah.
ways. But if you look at a cat, all you'd look at it is and go, it's just a pet. It just sits around the house.
Or if
Not
you're
really.
talking about ancient Egypt, cats were gods.
Yeah, but what about the gods? I mean, they were useless.
So we're talking
mean-
about Egypt here.
Yeah, but I mean, if you
Ancient
look,
Egypt.
yeah, they made that big pyramid. They spent all that time making a big figure and stuff, and it was just a cat. I mean, a dog's better than a cat, because it does more.
A dog is better than a cat because it does more.
Yeah,
Yes, but
okay, it's if a
we
burglar comes into your
at, the,
house, the burglar's
but
going to be more scared of a dog than a cat.
at our point, that is our opinion.
Okay, but I can't see any point in why anyone would see otherwise.
Well, in our modern day, we don't really need animals for the majority of jobs we have now. Like, there's no need for pool for sled dogs.
Yeah, because you get a snowmobile.
Yeah, you have multiple different vehicles that can do the
Yeah,
exact same, which doesn't require animal attention.
yeah, yeah. All right. Well, I suppose you're right there, but I mean, we haven't created something that could help replace a guide dog for the blind.
Yes and no.
Okay, where am I wrong?
So far, a dog for the blind is, I would probably say, the best functional tool, if you will,
Yeah,
for the blind. But we do have tools that
yeah,
aren't
like a
animal.
stick. Yeah, like a stick.
Yeah,
You get the stick. Yeah,
but the point of a dog is that it does more. Yes, we haven't really found.
but what
Basically,
haven't we? I mean, like we're 21st century, but
well, you would be talking about something that doesn't only help guide them around the place, but also fetch them things that they require, protect them from danger, multiple different scenarios.
yeah. But I think I'm just really impressed when I sit on the train and go to college and stuff. I am really impressed by the the dog, because the dog is on a full day job. I mean, it doesn't stop. You can't pet it and stuff.
Well, it's not a well. Yes and no.
You can't pet. I mean, I just look at the dog and go,
That's
that's
when it is working, as in it's guiding the blind person about the place.
yeah,
You're not really supposed to pet it,
yeah.
but it's still a dog. You can still pet it.
I don't. I just look at
It's
it
not.
and go,
It's not like once you pet it, it's going to lose its capability to
yeah, but
guide the blind.
yeah, but if you, I just go. It's resting. It doesn't need some random person just tap it. I mean, mine. Well, I look at a dog, a guide dog, and I go, that is impressive. That is, I mean, no other animal. I mean, it's like a horse. Back in the day when we had horses, running fields and stuff and doing stuff, that was impressive. But now, what do? They just have police on their back, and
What do you mean?
that's it. Well, like, okay, back in the day, in Victorian times, roughly, they were helping. They were a living tractor, um, and now we don't really have a purpose for them other than leisure and fun and entertainment.
The majority of dogs, you mean?
Horses.
Horses. Uh, well, they're still used for like crowd control, aren't they?
Yeah, but
Police.
yeah, I suppose so.
I would agree. Um, yeah, mainly entertainment, but
Yeah, yeah, I suppose so. Mainly entertainment. Yeah,
um,
animals have become useful tool. Have gone from useful tools to just entertainment.
they've become our instead of our companions, if you will.
Hmm.
They've for all parts of life, they have become mainly just a friend,
Yeah, yeah.
if you
And I
will.
think we should keep it that way. I mean, like, 100 years on from when we actually used them for a service, 100 years on, what do you think that we would have actually stopped? We should stop it and just sort of like put them back into the wild or stuff. I think people valued life way more than what they did. I mean, if you had the Black Plague and stuff, and then you just kind of went, oh, there's Jerry gone, da, 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 and then you just move on from it. Now, I think life is more important.
But we're constantly improving our lives, and our lives are not only being made longer.
How are we improving? I mean, I do get how we're living longer, but we're not exactly healthiest and active of all people. The average person.
We are healthier.
Are we?
We're not. We're not. I don't know if you could say we're as active, but we're definitely healthier. Medicine has made us healthier than we've ever been before, Josh. People in the past, people would be lucky if they got to our age.
Yeah, but I don't think that we necessarily people spend too much time behind just stuck behind TV and stuff and don't really understand what it's truly like.
You're talking about the issues of modern day society being a playground for entertainment industries.
Is it not? I think it is.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Today's our modern day lifestyle is now a playground for pretty much industries and market and
capitalism.
Capitalism at its finest. To say that we should go back, I would say, is incorrect, because we would be going back to points where we know don't work.
But like, I mean, if you look at, okay, so one of the more popular things that's become popular in people to have is like Alexas and stuff, Alexa, HomeKit, and you just speak to the device and it does it for you. And I think like that is peak laziness. If you look at a device, and if you're too lazy to set an alarm or to remind yourself or stuff like that, I think that is something that is a useful tool, but is actually kind of like, and for those, and when you're working and stuff, when you're very hectic, it can be very useful. But for those that for a human race on its own, it can be have a negative impact on people and kind of not improve the way that they behave and stuff, and they're relying too much on technology.
I don't know.
You don't know.
Reliance on too much on technology. There's truth to it, but
I mean, I do get that technology. There is some technology that is beneficial, and we don't appreciate its worth. So, say for example, there's an improvement in safety technology. So you've got cars are becoming more safer. You've got safer medical equipment. You've got more. You've got some. Yeah, I think that's it really. I mean, the rest of it, like with cars becoming more autonomous and stuff, and that, I think that's just laziness. And I think,
well, I don't think cars are going to become more autonomous. The talk about that has lowered. I don't see it happening anymore.
Yeah, but I think that at the moment there is cars that are autonomous, and I think that the more and more people that buy them, I know either it might not become a thing, but it just shows laziness.
I wouldn't say that. I would say it's improving.
improving.
I would say
So,
it's improvement.
mm,
But even you would be getting people who would try to learn to drive, Josh. But some people won't really ever learn to drive because either their lifestyle won't let them or they can't afford to. But well, I guess if you can't afford to learn to drive, I would presume you probably can't afford to buy a car. If you, it would allow people to travel when they need to.
mm-hmm.
With that being said, you'd be getting rid of taxi drivers probably,
Mm-hmm.
which Uber is kind of doing.
Yeah, but Uber, I think that's also. I suppose Uber is better than public transport, and it kind of helps that in a way, but it doesn't really help solve the issue of like it just improves laziness.
As I've said, humanity grows on the fact that we are lazy.
Yeah, too lazy, I think, these days, and I think that we need to kind of. I think streamer services and people that like watch Netflix and stuff, and me myself, who a key example of what you shouldn't be like, and who binge watches all the series such as Witcher, House, and stuff like that, and maybe not House, like Witcher, Tiger King, and stuff like that, and just who does this, who watches too often and spends too much time behind a television,
Well,
or because I mean, if you look at like streaming services, I think that people are spoilt for choice, and I think that we need to kind of limit people's choice. I mean, you look at like foods that are available in supermarkets, and you can get like Parma ham and stuff, and all these lovely all these lovely foods and stuff that have come all across the world at the palm of your hands, and we just take no notice of that. And I think if you
some people,
watch,
I don't know. You're talking about the intelligence of a community as a whole.
yeah, and I think
I,
as intelligence as a whole, we don't appreciate and understand.
I would say, I think I know my family do. We tend to try and sometimes figure out which country our food is coming from.
Yeah, and I don't think people do that enough. And I think that like people kind of go and just buy these foods and 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 they just kind of like don't care. I mean, and if you've got like streaming services where you can watch any movies and any TV programs just at a press of a button, compared to what when we were about 10 years old, where we could just like we had to go to the cinema and you had to watch the movies, or you had to just wait for
You
what
got
was on
like
television.
you got like how many channels? Like 6, 5, maybe
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah, and now you got like a thousand channels, and then once you and even back then when you had 1,000 channels, and then that was too much, and then you haven't just got 1,000 channels, you've got like a million shows or a million movies and stuff that you can just, or thousands of movies and stuff that you can have and watch at any time. Maybe not a million, but yeah. I just think people have just gotten too used to that.
I don't know if I would say it's a problem because it's not exactly forcing people to stay inside when they shouldn't. Like for now, during the coronavirus stage, it's
Yeah, for the coronavirus stuff, yeah, I would appreciate it then. However, in daily life, um, I think that people need, in a normal daily life, I think that people need to. I don't think that there should be streaming services. I think that there needs to be less options for people to watch TV, and more options encourage people more to become more active.
You're talking about something which people have been saying for years, Josh.
Yeah, but I think our minds, as I said before, that we're becoming more and more stupid, and we're just kind of just giving into all these streaming services and not actually becoming more active.
Once again, I don't know if you could say that it's the streaming services that are making it stupid.
Yeah, I suppose you're right, but they're giving it an option, and it's just
No,
our fault.
it's as I've been saying, you're corresponding laziness with intelligence, which isn't necessarily true.
Okay.
Humanity has thrived on trying to be as lazy as human.
And is there any way that you think that we could go back to, or try and be less lazy as a race?
Conscription.
Yep. Do you think that, like, I mean,
I know South Korea have, I think it's conscription, isn't it?
yeah, but like
Once you get to a certain age, you have to be in part of the army for a certain length of time.
yeah, you have to be in the army, and then in the army, you learn about survival skills, you become more fit, you have a routine and stuff, and you're a better
that will
human
only
being.
for some people that will only last as long as you're doing your service.
Yeah, but I suppose some people may
But
not
people
continue on.
have hated that idea for
Yeah,
years. In fact, I'm sure it's been brought up back in the 90s if we should bring it back or not. And
yeah. I think yeah, but I just think that just becoming, as you said, we're becoming more lazy and stuff, and I think we need to kind of cut back and try and improve ourselves. I mean, like, I'm getting to the point now where whilst I was at school for 5 years, I tried to learn French, and I couldn't even pass National 4. Now,
crash.
I failed, and I couldn't even pass an exam. Now, I'm looking at myself going, I think I need to learn learn a language. I might learn.
When you're in the perfect time to try and do it.
Yeah, I mean, I might learn Italian. That's what because I've been watching The Godfather. But yeah, and yeah, that's about it really. Right. Well, that is the end of the podcast.